Not long now until the lights go green for the Mexico Grand Prix qualifying. So let's get ready and see who has that pole position winning performance in them this afternoon. It always looked like the kind of track that asks an awful lot of the rear tyres, such as the frequency of low-speed exits.
No matter how good a driver is at managing their throttle application to limit rear slip, they can't always overcome a car that's inherently bad at looking after its rear tyres. Here we have a lot of low-speed corner exits, which means a whole load of energy, heat and tyre wear.
Lewis, Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live.
Well done. That was a good qualifying performance.
Formula One may have been absent from Mexico for 23 years, but after 2015's triumphant return, it was as if we'd never been away. In Mexico, a Grand Prix is more than just a race. It's a celebration of speed and of bravery. There's nothing quite like the atmosphere in the stadium today. They'll be drowning out the cars with their noise as they make their way through on lap 1. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right and the remaining 7 going to the left. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's talk about De Vries. They need to win in order to stay in contention for the title. Anything outside of that, and their fate is no longer in their hands.
The key now will be to keep in the right mindset. We've seen time and again that things go wrong if you just try and do the minimum. Not necessarily because of the pressure, but because it's different to your usual approach. They'll need to avoid that and stay focused today.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. De Vries lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Norris, Sergio Perez and Albon, Magnussen, Vettel, Raikkonen and Daniel Kvyat, Gasly, Verstappen, Lance Stroll and Hülkenberg, Grosjean, Kubica, Antonio Giovinazzi and Daniel Ricciardo. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Russell and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So let's concentrate on bringing tyres and brakes up to temperature. Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid has formed. Be ready with the clutch. 20. Right, some information on Hamilton. They seem to have an issue. Release. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. These conditions are making the line a bit greasy, but we're still nowhere near the changeover point. Complete, go now. Okay, clear. Yes, you've done it. Well done.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Rain always has the potential to liven up a race and mix up the order, and they've taken full advantage of that to claim the victory today. It's always a bit of a lottery when the conditions are like this, but they've managed to stay on circuit and have come out on top.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
There's a few contenders, but George Russell definitely stood out, I think. A really solid drive from him today, and one I'm sure the fans enjoyed.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. Was there really any competition for you today? Well, looks like your luck has changed. Things went a lot better than last weekend, didn't they? It's looking like the championship is already won. Do you think there's still time for this? Did you feel comfortable in the wet weather today? Great. Well, that's everything.
Keep pushing like this for the rest of the season.